Welcome to my ethical presentation. Let's begin with defining what ethics is. It is about knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. This can get tricky when there's more than two in the dilemma. This is because people think they are right, and this may be from what their life experiences have been, what they've been taught, or what they have seen from their upbringing. So let's begin this little slideshow. Do ethical dilemmas make you do this? Do you avoid them at all costs? Is there a way that could stop you being the star of an Alfred Hitchcock movie as you scream yourself silly about dilemmas? As I have learnt more about what ethical dilemmas are over the first year of my specialist teaching degree, I can now see that it is usually two people feeling that they are right and just have the well-being of the world within their heart. So as I stated, it is about two people, cultures, countries, factions, or anybody that has strong and innate beliefs, values, or views on what they believe is right. These people, countries, or cultures will believe that what they are doing is for the best at that very point of time. There are no baddies beating off the goodies. It is about right versus right in their own view. I would like to begin with a statement from O'Neill, 2007. To act morally, teachers need to be able to distinguish good and bad in the choices they make about their teaching practice, to persist in seeking out the good, be able to explain rationally the reasoning behind their choices, and to be aware how their personal choices contribute to a broader social and educational good. To support how to make choices, as there can be many grey areas for teachers, such as, do you take a child home in your car because their parents have failed to turn up? The Code of Ethics for Certified Teachers helps guide decision making when these situations arise. A code of ethics is usually a set of values and understandings that support teachers for working with whānau, children and clients. It also allows for how the teachers will represent their profession. The Code of Ethics for Certified Teachers 2017 states, we understand that families in whānau and the wider community trust us to guide their children and young people on their learning journey and to keep them safe. By acting with integrity and professionalism in all that we do, we maintain this trust and confidence. The kidda test says recognise the problem. I asked the previous sender if I could support a whānau with transition to school. Problem, teachers making a judgment about a child without consulting with whānau. The Code of Ethics 2017 states 2. Commitment to learners. 4. Affirming Māori learners as tangata whenua and supporting their educational aspirations. And 5. Promoting inclusive practices to support the needs and abilities of all learners. The kidda test then asks us to identify or determine who is in the dilemma or problem. He calls them the actors. Ta-da! In this scenario, the actors were the three teachers from my previous teaching position and myself. If the whānau and the child had been consulted with, I would have added them in as well. The kidda test then asks us to gather the evidence or relevant facts about the dilemma. In this case, I had the email that had been sent to me. In the email, it was outlined that the child was doing well without my input, the teachers felt that he was improving since I had left, and the teachers wanted more information of what my visits would look like. The kidda test then asks us to apply the right versus right lens. As the Primes 2018 share, that this is when we must reflect on, is this ends-based, doing the greatest good for the most people? Is it rule-based, creating a standard? And lastly, is it care-based? Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So for my dilemma, I think I would choose care-based because I feel that my dilemma is about professionals who may seem or feel overprotected of their space, place and children. I felt the same when I used to work in this space. However, the bigger picture was about offering support to the whānau and the child. Kidda model applies the right versus wrong tests. In the case scenario I have offered, I feel that would fall under the right versus right category, as the actors had the child's interest at heart. If there was any fault, it was not consulting the whānau about their thoughts for their child. The Code of Ethics 2017 share a commitment to learners. 1. Promoting the well-being of learners and protecting them from harm. Right, once we have sorted out if there is a problem, who the actors are, gathering the evidence about the dilemma, looking at the dilemma to see whether it is a right versus right situation or a right versus wrong situation, we then begin the fun part of the kidda model. We now apply some fun but pertinent tests. Let's take a look. The stench test is rule-based, which focuses on the morals of the situation. Looking at my dilemma, it seemed to me that the teachers were looking at me with suspicion. I suppose it would have been the unknown of why I was coming back into the centre after leaving. It could have also been seeing me not as a teacher but as an early intervention teacher and how my role would look with this. front page test is ends-based and is focused on the outcomes, such as, will there be negative fallout if I make this decision? For my dilemma, if I looked at my email I sent back to the teaching team, I would probably not want it all over the newspaper. With fallout, there has been an unsettling of teaching relationships. However, I feel stronger that I shared my opinions. The mum test. This is care-based. If I'd applied the kidder model to my dilemma before shooting from the hip, I may not even have addressed the issue. The good side of my email back to these teachers, I feel, was that I used the code of ethics to strengthen my email along with the theorist Bronfenbrenner, discussing the impact that outside decisions made for a child without consultation with a whānau can have a long-term effect for that child. Now what? Now you have worked through the dilemma, and maybe at this point you are either feeling or thinking, I am right, I need to follow this through, it needs to be addressed, and you may have a list of why it needs to be addressed. The Code of Ethics for Teachers will certainly point you in the right direction if you still feel flummoxed. Kidder now asks us to apply the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule, according to Kidder 2005, is a focus on reversibility. Ask yourself, what would I want to have my superior do to me in such a circumstance? I might ask, what drove me to do such a thing? Am I struggling with overwhelming personal problems? Am I frightened by the possibility of failure? Am I driven by a need to succeed at all costs? These are very personal insights which should be answered truthfully and without bias. If you still feel like this after walking through the kidder model, it may need outside or professional help from a mediator. With working through this model, it helps you put your thoughts into order because if you're anything like me, it can become emotional, and this is when friendships, working relationships, and colleagues fall apart. The kidder model helps to take a situation and apply a few simple and fun tests, which can allow you to see the dilemma from another perspective other than your own. The outcome for me was even though I felt good about my decision, I feel I've upset a professional relationship with the teachers at my previous centre. If the parents had been consulted and it was their wish not to have me work with their child, I would have been absolutely fine with the decision. I asked for feedback for my email, and this was what was said. You have just used facts and even backed those facts with the Code of Ethics. From my study last year, I have taken on my feedback from lecturers to add substance to my opinions with theorists and